Welcome to Discover Indie Film. I'm your host, Jeff Howard, and this is going to be a fun episode because I've got filmmaker Gerrit Van Woudenberg with me. Hey, Gerrit.
Hey, Jeff. Pleasure to be here.
Gerrit, it's great to see you. You are up in Vancouver. I am in Los Angeles, so we were on Zoom. And I guess I don't have to continue with the Zoom disclaimer. Dear listener, we are on Zoom. If you got any problems with audio quality or anything, it's not us, it's Zoom. But how cool is it that we're living in an era where someone in Vancouver and someone in LA can talk about films for half an hour?
Totally. Yeah, I'm so happy to get to do this with you.
Yeah, we can even see each other. This is like a real chat. All right, well, you should watch Gerrit's film, Quantum Suicide, like ASAP. Just go rent it on Amazon. You can also stream it on Tubi, but watch it. This podcast is coming out a little later, but the film came out October 18th. Watch that film and listen to the podcast before this one in the Discover Indie Film feed to learn all about Gerrit and his film. But this episode is going to be Gerrit answering the 4 questions, which are: name 3 favorite films, name an underrated film, name an overrated film, and name a lesser known film that people should seek out. Besides my love for Gerrit's film, Quantum Suicide, I've already talked to you for a festival Q&A. Oh, I didn't mention your awards. I was trying to mention the awards too. Quantum Suicide at Film Invasion Los Angeles in June of 2024 took home Best Feature Film Sci-Fi and Best Production Design for a Feature Film. So, and you got Best in Fest at the Philip K. Dick Festival in New York. Yeah, we won
Best Sci-Fi at Philip K. Dick as well.
Best Sci-Fi. So people should watch this award-winning independent sci-fi film that absolutely kicks ass. All right, that's the good intro. And I learned from talking to you at our festival Q&A in June and your interview in the podcast before this one. I mean, it's nice to preach to the choir. Like, we've got similar tastes. So I am looking forward to your answers to those 4 questions.
Totally. I'm looking forward to, keeping to talk to you about film.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, you want to jump in with 3 favorite films?
All right. 3 favorite films. I love Primer. I love Primer so much. Christopher Nolan's The Prestige and David Lynch's Mulholland Drive.
Interesting. I love it because I'm with you all the way. I love that. I mean, obviously the generation, Nolan is adored by cinephiles, and not everyone goes for The Prestige.
As far as I'm concerned, The Prestige is like hands down his best film, and I don't like. I think his early work is the stuff that I was the most impressed with, but I love Memento and I love The Prestige, but Prestige is absolutely one of my 3 top movies of my life.
And I will forever love Mulholland Drive. I grew up in the era of Lynch. I was a kid of the 80s, and I will forever. I really only remember one thing, I think, from the film, which was that first scene with Pullman and Arquette, and she goes, "What?" He points at the videotape on the coffee table, and she goes, "What's that?" And he goes, "It's a videotape." It's like David Lynch dialogue is the greatest stuff in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't watched Mulholland Drive for more than a decade now, but yeah, when I was younger, that was one movie that just blew my mind. I loved that movie so much when I was a teenager.
It's so good. He's so great. Did you watch? He did a film for Netflix where it was him talking to a monkey.
No, I don't even know if I know about this.
It's like an 8-minute short film where David Lynch is having dialogue with an actual monkey, I believe. I highly recommend you find it. I think it's on Netflix. But he's actually one of the funniest people alive. Go figure.
Surprisingly, from his work.
Yeah, his work might be a little dark, but heck, I will always look. I was in college when oh, my old brain is failing. When Twin Peaks came out,
Yeah.
and when he showed up as an actor on that show as the deaf FBI agent who shouted all the time, I'm like, this guy is so funny. Everyone thinks he's so serious, but the truth is, he's a genius. All right. Love that you got Lynch on there. Question number 2 is a film that is underrated.
Okay, so I don't have a lot of respect for Michael Bay generally for Michael Bay's work, but I think Michael Bay's The Island it is actually like stylistically a masterpiece. I'm sure all his movies get a lot of hate, but I learned a lot from The Island, and I love like I mean it's the story obviously doesn't necessarily make sense. It's not about the plot, but what they pull off like visually and technically, I love that movie.
I never saw it. Now I kind of want to.
And also the director's
Oh, wait a
commentary.
minute. I did see it. That is a cool movie. That's the Scarlett Johansson, Ewan McGregor one where they have like clone backups.
Dude, I don't even remember the plot anymore. But yeah, that sounds about right.
I
Yeah,
think they
it's Michael Bay doing like real sci-fi, not Transformers, like a standalone one-off. Also the director's commentary is like priceless. Because I used to have the DVD, and just listening to them talk about what was going on when they were making that movie is also like
I feel
insane.
totally comfortable making this statement, which is if you're going to watch a big budget film instead of a quality indie, it might as well be motherfucking Michael Bay because, I was traveling in Ireland when the first Transformers movie came out, and I was like, kind of had a off night, nothing to do. So I went to see it in some tiny village. Had the first Transformers movie in its own way is a work of art. Like Michael Bay does it well.
Yeah, yeah.
He might have no soul and might whatever, but if you just want to see somebody spend a couple $100 million in a really cool way, can you top Mr. Bay? I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean that's not like it's certainly not the type of movie that I like. Like I don't like action movies. I don't like Hollywood like big budget films. Um, but there's certainly like there is sometimes there's value in style. Like there are some films that I appreciate solely it's style over substance. And especially I don't know like there's stuff to appreciate in them and there's stuff you can learn from them. And especially for me it was technically the things I learned from those films. Like that and like old Tony Scott films like Domino, watching the shit that they would do was like it expanded my mind about the possibilities of filmmaking on a technical level.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's content and there's form, and then there's a balance, right? Yeah, style and substance. There's a
Yeah.
balance. Yeah, yeah. Excellent, fun choice. All right, question number 3. And you're such a kind and nice person. I don't know how you'll approach it, but do you want to name a film that you consider overrated?
Yeah, this was a harder question for me because I was like, I don't know. I didn't. It took a while for me to think of one film because I was like, maybe, like I don't like Hollywood films. I don't like blockbuster films. But that's not a real answer. So my answer, the one film I think is overrated, um, is Inarritu's Birdman. And I'll say that like I love Inarritu's work. Like he was one of my favorite directors, and I love every film he directed before that film. And I was so stoked to see Birdman, and then I just like, and I thought it was bad, and I thought it was overrated, and I thought it was like award bait or whatever. Like he did it just, he took the art, the artistry like too far. So it's just artifice, and it like a for me it lost a lot of the soul of his work. But that's the thing that won him an Academy Award. But I think it's his worst film by far.
I just want to say that you went in the exact direction I like people to go, which is you're not saying it's a bad film. You're just saying, why did he get Oscars for this one when the other stuff was better? Exactly. Yeah, that's where I go with this question. And
Yeah.
I got to admit, I was disappointed in Birdman as a huge fan of his.
Yeah.
And then I actually had a discussion about it with my uncle of all things. And my uncle, who is an accountant,
Yeah.
said something about Birdman that made me go, oh, maybe I should rewatch it with that perspective. But honestly, I felt like it was whatever. I'm with you. It's a good film, but he deserved Oscars for his other work.
Yeah. Yeah. It's certainly not his best work. And I love everything else he's made. And I love his body of work.
I know, isn't it? And God, I wish I had unlimited time so I could watch it again. But anyway,
Yeah.
who knows? Who knows, right? All right. We're already down to the question number 4, which is a lesser known film that people should seek out.
This one was hard for me too, because I'm like coming on your indie film podcast. So I'm like, I know that your library of film knowledge is so big, and probably your viewership as well. So I'm like, what's unknown? Like I don't have things that are so unknown. But maybe that's not true. So my pick is Park Chan-wook's The Handmaiden. Do you know this film?
I don't.
Okay, cool. Do you know Park Chan-wook? Yeah, who made Old Boy?
I've heard of it. My generation, we kind of, unless you stayed hip and cool, we kind of missed out on a lot of the Asian wave and the Korean wave.
Korean cinema is like,
I know,
so
everybody, and like, when you're in your 40s, when the Korean cinema hits our shores, you're just like, well, that's for the young people. I don't have time.
Okay, well, like Park Chan-wook's is my favorite Korean director, like by quite a bit. Old Boy was an amazing action movie. They ended up making like a spiritual trilogy, but this is like 20 years ago, called the Vengeance Trilogy. He just had a miniseries on HBO called The Sympathizer that came out this summer. But in 2017, he made this film, The Handmaiden, which is Korean language. I think, and he had been making mostly English films for the last decade or so. So he went back to making a Korean film, and it's amazing. It's a historical period piece. It structurally, it's like The Prestige. Like it's the closest film I can think of to The Prestige, and it's got those twists and turns and reversals, and like as the viewer, like you think this is what's happening, and then the whole thing gets flipped on its head, and then it happens again, and you like it. But it's all like it's so tight and it's so well done. It's an amazing film. Like it's really like an amazing film. And I had it on my list of top 3, but then I was like, maybe I'll put it down here.
And that bought you another one in your top. By the way, I mean, amusingly, I do ask the question as name 3 favorite films so that people don't feel the pressure to name like the 3 best of all time. Like, right? Because sometimes our favorite films are, I got a favorite or 2 that I acknowledge are bad. I just love them.
Totally.
But yeah, no, it's good. And no, The Handmaiden, as we were talking, I don't know if you could tell, I pulled my phone out and I unlocked it and I add that to my films to watch list because, and you mentioned that series. I guess I should add that series to my list too.
I would personally, I would watch most of his films before that series. I'm a huge fan, but I don't think that was his best work.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, good to know.
but watch The Handmaiden and watch Old Boy.
I know, I've been hearing about Old Boy. God damn it!
And
Why haven't I
they
seen
remade
Old
it,
Boy?
too, right? There's like a Hollywood version of it that's more recent. Don't watch that. Like watch the 2003 Korean Old Boy.
For sure.
Yeah, and I think especially with your taste, like you'll really love it because it has
right.
that indie kind of like, it's not low budget, but it has that sensibility, that like type of storytelling that's interesting in and of itself. And it's not good because it's expensive. It's good because it's interesting.
Yeah. Well, you are 100% correct. That you are preaching to my choir with that.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, very cool list. And I guess we can wrap it up. We took care of it. These 4 questions episodes are supposed to be a little shorter, a little easier.
Yeah. I have a question for you. Have you ever done your answers to the 4 questions?
I have not. And it's kind of funny. It's too late now. Well, not too late now. But when I first started it, somebody said, for episode 100, you should do it. And somebody wanted to interview me. And he lives in France. Hey, JM, he's the best. Love this guy. And we never, he's a super busy visual effects artist, and we never recorded it. So actually this podcast goes from episode 99 to episode 101, and I never answered him.
But there's an opening. There's a slot for episode.
There's a slot for it. if I ever get around to it. But
all right, I look forward to that episode as well.
Well, it may never happen. So if you want, I can share some. I don't know if we should stop recording, and then I'll tell you.
I don't know. This is your show.
This is my show. I'll share them with you when we hop off the phone.
Okay.
They're
keep the suspense for the 100th episode.
Yeah, the 100th episode that will somehow come after number 460 something, or who knows. The truth is, I should just have somebody who lives in Los Angeles come over in person and do it. But anyhow, all right. Well, Gerrit, thank you so much. Thank you everyone for listening. If you're still listening to us ramble on about me being a film answer tease, thank you for listening. Again, watch Gerrit's film Quantum Suicide. It's great. There's clickable links to the social media and the website for it. You should go straight to Amazon Prime Video and rent it. Watch it without commercials. But if you must, watch it on Tubi. If you don't have any pennies to rub together, you can watch on Tubi, but watch it on Amazon and support indie film that way.
And one thing I'll say, one quick plug: if you like it, check it out on Letterboxd, on IMDb, on Rotten Tomatoes, and like it, review it. Yeah, put it.
That
put
stuff
it on
is important. I should have meant,
yeah.
And write a review. I think Amazon even makes it tricky where you have to rent the film and then go back to Amazon.com to write a review. But seriously, especially for an indie film, if you like an indie film at all, you should give it 5 stars or 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5, and write a positive review, because that stuff really matters and really helps. And look, this film deserves to run. The algorithm needs to see that people are enjoying this film and lift it up in the search results. So that said, totally. And especially, and I guess Letterboxd matters too. See, I'm too old to even like understand how to make Letterboxd work for me, but I know a lot of people use that app.
Letterboxd, IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes.
The Holy Trinity. All right. And I will wrap us up with my closing spiel, which is, I think I said it already, but thank you for listening to the Discover Indie Film Podcast. If you want to learn more about this podcast or the TV series of shorts born from it, just go to discoverindiefilm.com. On social media, it's always at DIFWins. Gerrit's film, Quantum Suicide, took home those awards at Film Invasion LA. Film Invasion Los Angeles, I always like to say the long version. And then I say, we hold that one every June. And you can learn more at filminvasionla.com, and it's at filminvasionla on social media. its sister festival that we hold every December, the weekend after Thanksgiving, is the Sherman Oaks Film Festival. You can learn more if you go to ShermanOaksFF.com, and it's at ShermanOaksFF on social media. I just did that American thing where I assume everyone knows when Thanksgiving is, but unfortunately, I think everyone does because America is just that big of a bully internationally. And the last thing is just ask everyone, just if you love indie film or even like it a little, check out indiechannel.tv as a website, or go onto whatever smart TV platform if you've got one. If it's Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, Android TV, and download the Indie Channel app and check out the films on there. You get a free week trial, and I promise you, there's just fantastic indie stuff on there. And it's run by a couple of socialists who believe in sharing half of all gross receipts with the filmmakers, because as one of the decision makers, I was like, you don't want to reward people based on view counts or finishes or this or that. If everyone's contributing together, art is art. Everyone should share equally. So I don't know, if we can get a nice subscriber base, then people will actually make money off their indie films. Whoa, never happened before. Indie films, other people make money, not the artists. All right, that's my soapbox. Gerrit, absolutely a pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah, it was so great to be here. Great to talk to you.
And one last time, watch Quantum Suicide. Watch Quantum Suicide. All right. Thank you, everybody. Bye.